we may never know what really happened.
All right, so Wax, back to you. You claim that it was a couple of artists who may have had a hand in this whole cancellation of the nairaMaley concert. How true is that?
What I'm saying is very true. Yeah. I'm talking on authority, you know. So here's my thing. CY is a comedian. Where have you ever heard that a comedian cancels a musical show? Look, you know, somebody asked me, like, but CY said it is. I said, CY is a comedian. He's making jokes. And we unfortunately are taking very seriously about an issue that is more serious than it looks. I call it a very serious issue because people might look at face value and say, oh, this show was cancelled. But the reality is that our industry is under attack, which means that you could be doing this show here tomorrow and somebody says, no, stop this freaky table. It's not allowed. That's the implication of what happened. It means that tomorrow I could organize my show, suddenly couldn't organize the show, and on the day of the show, they say, no, this is not allowed to happen. So there's no certainty, and where there's no certainty, we're losing investors, we're losing everything. The whole industry is is going to be in a state of...
So when you say our industry is attacked, is it the Anglophone industry or the general?
Our music industry is under attack. Our music industry is under attack. That's the point. Now, by whom? That's where we need to get. Now, what I spoke under authority to say, and let me be very clear about this, you know. I'm the national coordinator of the musical arts sector in Cameroon. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but these things would get reported to me. And in future, it's going to get more organized. When Fally Ipupa's show was announced, there were a lot of artists that got up and said, why are they bringing foreign artists? They're paying 20,000 pounds for a bottle of... That caused commotion nationally. It went beyond the NOB's concert. At the same time, CY was doing his thing, you know, and they were fighting. I didn't care about that. I never got involved in it. It's beneath me to get in that kind of a fight or to even comment about it. So when NOB was fighting with CY and there was a war of egos and all of that, it was not a national issue. It was not worth our attention, I think. That was their personal Facebook scuffle. It could have ended there. Where it got my attention was the fact that the show was cancelled, because then that is an issue that needs to be addressed. At the same time, when Fali's show was announced, all of us were complaining. And if you go read social media, you see there were reports by Ekambi Briand. I've said that before. He gave interviews on TV where he said, this is impossible, it shouldn't happen. That they're bringing us out here and spending all our money on them, where we are not getting shows. Ama Piero was going wild in social media groups. The social media groups that actually talk about music issues, that actually powerful, where you find all the power people in those groups, and I'm part of those groups. The other ones like Cameroon Entertainment Billboard, the music club, yeah, they're just discussing, but they don't have power. That's the reality. There are groups where the people with power are sitting and they're able to go and take decisions, and they're able to talk to the presidency. They've done it before, and I saw people discussing these things in those groups. So I don't think it's by coincidence that at the same time, I speak with the ministry and they tell me, oh, there's a message from our hierarchy. Not the ministry. It came from hierarchy, from the presidency, that we should limit the shows that international arts are doing.
So how come that didn't affect Fali's show? Because if I thought the whole squabble was coming from...
The thing is, this thing started once Fali's show was, it's a process. It's an administrative process. Remember, as he said, Blaise said, you cannot call the presidency and they cancel the show, as CY claims. That's impossible. Everything that is done by administration. Administration means that there must be a written thing. You get a discharge, there's a response and all of that. That's how administration works. You cannot sit and call your phone and call any office and they take any action. It's impossible, first of all. So that should tell people that we're living in a place where we don't understand how things work and we think that we can just go, and it misleads people about how things actually work. Because that's what we call the Facebook industry. People have the impression that things are done by noise and all of that. No, there's a way that things work in administration. You write a formal letter, you get a discharge, you get a formal response. They are forced to, if you send a letter to the president is obliged to respond to you, and that's what happens. And so that was a process. Fally Ipupa's show, happened before that process was terminated. Very simply put. And if one, I'm going to play a voice note where these things being explained, right here. If we need to do that, but that's exactly what happened. So now there was this other issue happening about, yes, at the level of the delegate and all of that. CY was probably complaining and sending his complaints. That's fine, and the show got moved to Limbe and all of that. But remember what was said to NOB and Bonte when they came to say it. They said when when Limbe they accepted to the show, and the delegate told me afterwards that, oh, there's a message from hierarchy that we cannot hold the show.
So hierarchy is not the governor of Southwest?
No, it was no longer a decision at this level to say, no, it came from Yaoundé at this stage, that we cannot hold the show. I am sorry. And this all happened within a few hours, because at the time when you had accepted, yes, I'm going to hold the show, and they said, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore because there's a message now from which is beyond our powers. Right. So it's not coincidence that he says there's a message of hierarchy, and then the ministry says there's a message of hierarchy. And there is a message of hierarchy. Because as of last week, when was the meeting held at the Ministry of Arts and Culture to discuss it? I'll tell you the day when it was held. Just give me a second. There was a meeting at the Ministry of Arts and Culture, and I was informed of that meeting to discuss this particular issue and how to respond to that. And they asked for my response, which I did. I have I'll share it with you. Yeah. A written response. And just give me a second. Blaise, you're here, right? Yeah. Okay. This was, since this is the director of spectacle at Ministry of Arts and Culture. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is our response, basically on February 18th. Yeah, this February 18th, when they had the meeting about, and I told her that
that's 4 days after the
show, yes.
It was supposed to take place.
Yes. And she asked for a response. They were going to a meeting. I said, okay, I've spoken with Stanley Eno and Salasiel, and we've agreed that we're going to send a letter directly for you to present to the meeting. And this is the letter, that we sent. It's signed by Stanley Eno, Waxday, and Salasiel. Yeah. Yeah. And it's saying to the Minister of Arts and Culture, Dear Honorable Minister, limitation of concerts by foreign artists in Cameroon. Wish to express our appreciation, da. But he said, sir, we are deeply concerned by a new decision to limit the performance of foreign arts in Cameroon. We plead with you to approach the presidency to urgently review any decision in that line for several reasons. One, our artists and urban artists especially depend on international collaborations and foreign shows to make a lot of their income. And this decision is already causing many foreign industries to rebel against Cameroonian artists. I spoke specifically about the nairaMaley concert just cancelled last week. This sentiment from Nigeria is likely to spread to other countries and compromise our performance industry. Mm-hmm. Two, our focus should be on empowering local artists rather than fighting foreign artists. This can be done by ensuring that at least 80% of local music only is played across media, and that our artists get the exposure and limelight they need to help export our music easily. Number three, it is not bad for foreign artists to perform in Cameroon. What is bad is when promoters fail to treat local artists fairly vis-a-vis the foreign artists. Rather than limiting foreign artists to performing in Cameroon, it's better to use their presence to promote local artists by imposing promoters to book at least local artists also and pay them fairly for every show. Therefore, we propose that at least one local artist be booked and paid a minimum of 50% of the fee paid to any foreign artist invited to perform in Cameroon. And this, Honorable Minister, we count on your kind intervention.